I was looking this up last night. I wondered if you ever won a golf tournament on your birthday. You didn't, but you won.
No.
You won the clam bake around your birthday 3 times. You won on January 16th. You won on January 23rd. So you played the second round of the Pebble Beach event. You won that, and then you won it again on January 28th. So you won around your birthday, but never on your birthday.
No, I didn't. And probably the year that I won it, when Friday was my birthday, was probably my most embarrassing moment in golf.
Really?
And, yeah, I was out in the room having a little. We had 15 people maybe down in the room, and we were, just in the afternoon after we played in the morning, and a friend of mine, John Swanson, got on the phone, and he called me on the phone. And he said, "Hey, Jack, wish you happy birthday." And I said, "Thanks, Swanee." And I said, he said, "Yeah, somebody else here wants to say happy birthday to you." This guy gets on the phone, and there's a lot of noise going on, and he sings happy birthday to me. And I'm not very sharp. So I'm sitting there, and I'm doing this. I said, "Is this guy ever going to stop?" And he continued the whole thing, and he got done with it. And I sort of, why I was irritated, I don't know. I was semi-irritated. I said, "To whom am I speaking, please?" He says, "Oh, it's Big Crosby, Jack. Just wanted to wish you happy birthday." I guess my voice was a little hoarse. I'm sitting, I want to crawl underneath the table. I mean, what an embarrassment. That was really nice of him to do that. I'm just a kid who didn't understand real culture.
Is Scottie Scheffler. You're watching what he's doing. Do you think, because I think he's a very balanced guy, that we are watching the front end of a historic window of golf from him?
I don't know. I think he started a pretty good one. I don't know how many majors has he won now?
2.
3? 2?
2 Masters.
Well, Scottie is really a good player. He's a nice guy. Seems to be very balanced. He's married, got family. He loves other stuff. He likes to be involved. I like Scottie a lot. I think he's going to have a great. He's had a great past, but he's going to have a great future still in front of him. And probably there's a lot of really, really good young players that are coming along that are, that are going to make his life more difficult, but also they're going to find a lot of young guys that are going to have success that we haven't even heard of yet.
Jack, every generation has different challenges. I think this current generation, it's the incessant noise, the outside noise. Famously, Barbara had to show you in 1986 that someone had written that maybe the window had closed for you. These guys, whether it's social media, the constant 24/7 of content creation, do you think that challenge is as big a challenge as any top players have today in terms of trying to stay away from all the outside noise?
I think that would be a pretty big distraction. If I had, there's Barbara, occasionally somebody would write an article that wasn't favorable. I'd never see it. Barbara would take it, throw it in the trash can before I got a chance to see it. So I never knew that stuff. And, my office does the same thing. I try to keep life on a positive basis. But the kids today, they're on social media constantly. They can't possibly miss what's going on with them, with their competitors, with other people. I think it's very, very difficult. I think the social media makes the game more difficult for them. I don't think there's a question about it.
You have a relationship with Rory. I think he's in a very interesting space historically. You completed the career Grand Slam when you were 26 years of age in 1966. You went from 4 to 5 majors when you won the Masters in 65, and then you repeated in 66. He's sitting on 4. It's now into that 11th year in the absence of winning, 4 trying to get to 5. What are the challenges psychologically that he has that obviously you never had to deal with?
Well, that is what he has to deal with, exactly what you're talking about. Psychologically, he hasn't won for a while. When he gets himself in a position, i.e. last year at Pinehurst. I mean, he had a little short putt at 16 that he wouldn't miss one in 1,000 times, but he did, and then missed another one at 18. But you get yourself where you haven't won for a while, and it's difficult to get out of that. The Masters, I mean, I still firmly believe Roy will win the Masters. He's just too good not to. I love Rory McIlroy. I think he's a great person. He's a great guy. He's as talented a player as there is out there, and he's got a lot more majors in him. You just got to get him out of him, and that's the problem. But he's good. He's good. He's really good. But he just I don't know what it's going to take, but it's going to one of these days he might he won those 4 pretty fast. All of a sudden he might break through, win a major. Then he's going to probably win 2 or 3 more pretty quickly. So we'll just see. I'm rooting for him. As I say, I like him a lot.
You've always told me when we've talked about the things that you did, whether it was end of the year, beginning of the year, that Jack Grout didn't put his eyes on you on an every week basis. And when he did, it was very fundamental stuff. And again, every generation is different. But do you think players today are over-engineered?
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's what everybody does today. But basically, Jack Grout, when I grew up, I saw Jack a lot. But when I was playing on the tour, I saw him 2 or 3 times a year. I'd go down, he was down at Lagos, he was down there, and I'd go down just for a refresher for maybe an hour. And we basically I really just went down because I wanted to talk to him. Then he might at the end of the session say, "Oh, you need to work a little bit on your posture or your head position or ball position or some little thing." And we'd go hit a couple balls and we'd be fine. He'd send me off on my way. But what Jack Grout did was he taught me to be responsible for my own actions and my own golf game. And so when I got on a golf course and I had a problem, I could correct it. And I did need somebody there. I think the guys today, they need to take a little bit more responsibility for what their game is. They have the ability right now to blame it on their swing coach, their health coach, their sight coach. Guys, I never had any of that stuff, and that would have driven me crazy. However, that is what the deal is today, and that's what the guys do. But I still think that to be better, I may be wrong, but to me, I think Scottie Scheffler appears to take more responsibility for his own game than any of the other guys. And he's been very successful. So we'll see. I remember sitting down with Bobby Jones, and Jones said to me, he said, "Jack," he said, "I was a good player, and through my 7 lean years, but it was from 14 to 21, a strange time to have your lean years. But anyway," he says, "I didn't win anything. Then all of a sudden," he says, when I stopped coming home and running to Sterling Maiden, who was his teacher, he says, "I started being able to fix myself. That's when I became a golfer." And Jack Grout started me that way from day one. So, I think that there's nothing wrong with having people help you and having an entourage of some kind. But you still, when it gets down, they cannot hit any of those shots for you coming down the stretch or even getting to the stretch of any golf tournament.
Periodically over the last 10 years, I've shared this story. The last time for television, you, Arnold Palmer, Gary Player, and Lee Trevino sat down. It was at the Greenbrier in October of 2015, and I was conducting the interview. And during that interview, Lee said, "That guy and that guy loved it more than I did and he did," meaning Player and Palmer, they loved it. They just couldn't get enough of it, whereas you loved golf, but you had other interests, and Lee, he loved it. There was times that maybe he didn't love it as much. When did you love it most?
Well, I loved it all the time. I loved playing golf, but I had to have. Arnold's whole mode was to play golf. Gary Player's 89 years old, plays golf every day, and he'd still break par most every day. Somebody asked Gary, how many times have you shot your age? His answer is like the last 2,503 times or something like that he's played. Gary plays constantly, and he's terrific. And, that's okay. But we're all different. And I was sort of built, and I needed to get away from it to be able to get my focus back on it. That didn't mean I loved it any less. I mean, I loved what I did. I loved the competition. And I know that Lee loved the competition. Lee Torino is what a great striker of the ball. What a great competitor. Gary Player the same. Arnold Palmer the same. They were all very good. We all did it a little bit differently.